Is it working? Did it do it?
Not yet. I don't think it's sharing your screen for like the presentation yet. It's just us.
Okay, it says recording. Well, it can record here, and then I'll open it over there. Okay,
Cool.
made it.
I'm gonna go ahead and start letting other folks in. I think we have 3 more people. Hi, Logan. 3 more people anticipating starting today, so I'm gonna give them a minute because I know sometimes Teams is not everybody's friend. I'm gonna give folks just a second to get logged in and connected to the audio. So feel free to mute yourself and turn off your camera for a second, and I'll give an announcement when we're ready to rock and roll. And I'll just send another little message to the calendar invite for folks who because it looks like everyone RSVP'd. I also could be making a mistake on my end and send it to wrong emails because that is life. Just a second. I'm gonna turn off my camera. I think it is a me thing. And I added some people that were supposed to be added and forgot some people that were. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started and not just do their orientation or send them the orientation video later. So we're gonna get started, everyone. So good morning. Yes, still morning. This is our orientation for the statewide program today. Just go over like our expectations, benefits, things of that nature, and how to make sure the rest of your service year is successful.
Sorry, it won't go next.
You're okay. So basic schedule, welcome and introductions, expectations and overview, closing remarks, and questions, of course. So section 1 is meet the program staff. Our director, Dr. Amy Hudson Chatham, could not be here with us today, but she is our program director and has been serving with us or working with our VISTA program since 2014. And she has been super helpful. She's a return Peace Corps volunteer, so she's very familiar with service and how that impacts communities. As you guys might know, should already know, my name is Kiana Boglin. I'm the program supervisor. I'm the one that sends you all those lovely reminder emails about everything. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and then I'll let the rest of our program staff introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kiara Jackson, and I serve as the Black Belt VISTA coordinator. So I kind of manage everything in the Black Belt. And just a little quick fun fact, I was a AmeriCorps VISTA member in 2019.
And then my name is Georgia, like the state. I'm the food security program coordinator. So anything in the FSI, the Food Security Initiative world, that is my gig. I also serve with the program. I was here, I think, around the same time, 2018 to or 2019 to something. And I was also the VISTA leader over here. So all 3 of us have had lots of experience with this program. We just love it so much, we keep coming back.
Okay, and next we have a solo slide for our VISTA leader, so I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, hey, I'm Mike. I'm the VISTA leader here, which I'm essentially just one of you on that staff, UAB. And I served my first year with Wellness Promotion here as the outreach coordinator. And I transitioned this role in August of last year, and I'll be here until September 1st. And I wear a lot of different hats. Primarily I see my role as kind of getting you all connected to the benefits and resources you're entitled to as AmeriCorps members. And I'm also just, lead by example a lot of times. And I work with Office of Service Learning and undergraduate research. I'm not going to go into everything I do. I do a lot. But yes, I'm always available through email or meetings or really just anything. And anytime you have any questions, I should be the second person you go to besides your site supervisor, but we'll get into that later. I won't spoil anything. So yeah, I'm really glad to see you all here.
Thanks, Mike. So next up, we have our VISTA introductions. So it's essentially for you guys to talk and give me a break from talking because I'm going to do a lot of it. So you're going to let us know your name, where you're from, your service site, something you're hoping to gain during your service year, and then Georgia will hit you with an icebreaker. If we don't have volunteers, I am not afraid to pick people's. And there's only 2 of you right now, so. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Landers. I'm from here. Actually, I went to school here at UAB, so I haven't traveled far since when I graduated a month ago. And I'm working at UAB Sustainability. And then something I hope to gain during the service year, just a little bit more confidence, working with community development, community empowerment. Really look forward to meeting with different high school students. I hope that's something we can reach out to for UAB Sustainability when we give them tours. And I'm not sure about the icebreaker yet.
Okay, so there's only 2 of you guys, so I'm going to ask you 2 of them. So the first one, I have a list that I just cycled through. Okay, so if you're a wrestler, what would your what's that, a WWE wrestler going for it? What is your hype song going in? What's the song you're hyping yourself up to going down?
Okay. That's a good question. I kind of want to look at my Spotify playlist, but off the top of my head, I don't know. Probably Run the World, Beyonce. I'm not sure.
Right. That's a hype. Yeah. And what's your cell phone wallpaper?
It's a few years ago I went to Versailles, so I took a photo of the ceiling and they had a lot of artwork, so it's just that.
It's a pretty reminder. Cool, thank you.
Well, awesome. So yeah, I'm Logan James Hatch, and I came over from Marshall, Texas, about 8-mile drive, or 8-hour drive, 9-hour drive, depending on how fast you want to go, but what stops you do. But yeah, no, it's good stuff. Graduated about a month ago too. Graduated over at University of Texas at Tyler. And before that, I got my associates at Panola College. That's over in Texas as well. But yeah, no, it's good stuff. And with this, I really wanted to expand my my view on microgrids and really look out and see what my field really drives into at a smaller scale.
Awesome. And then, okay, so if you have somebody follow you around all the time, like a personal assistant, what would you what's the top 3 things you would have them do?
Oh, gosh, because I had the answers to those other 2
Oh,
on
no.
lock.
We got it.
Yeah. But let's see. I'm gonna say just straight time management skills, writing skills, and I don't know. Like email drafting. If I could have somebody to do those 3 things for me, I'd be set.
Okay. I usually don't do the questions, but you said you're ready. So what would your wrestler song be? Your hype song?
Oh, Scarlet Fire.
What is that?
I don't know that, but I like the quick answer.
Yeah, no, it's a good kind of like a EDM song. It's very thumpy. It would be good for that.
I like that term, very thumpy.
Yeah.
It's okay when Georgia has to hear me say I'm crunchy a lot when I have like strong feelings about things. So I feel
By Otis McDonald.
that feels not correct.
I don't know. That's what pops up. I'm gonna listen to it later. Cool. Thanks, y'all.
Well, yeah.
So here is a general program overview. As you guys already heard in like the preliminary interviews, we're a statewide program and you guys are doing a year-long service that aims to address social issues in Alabama. Our goal is to provide opportunities to create and sustain effective and mutually beneficial collaborations across the state of Alabama. And we've been working over the last 9 years across campus and through community partners to impact the community in those ways that we've mentioned in the other 2 blurbs. So I won't make you listen to me read the whole thing. So a little bit of program history. It was established in the Office of Service Learning and Undergraduate Research in 2014, and we started out with 5 VISTA members. In 2018, we expanded with a grant from 5 VISTA members and 12 some associates to an intermediary site. And then we expanded again in 2020 and got 25 summer associates and a total of 90 VISTAs for the year allotted to us. And as we moved to 2022, we moved into the School of Public Health and pledged at least 30% of our VISTA members to focus on food security efforts. And we're continuing to grow in those areas and still have about 90 VISTAs and 25 summer associates served with our program. So impact service areas. So the areas in green, I point to it like y'all can see me on screen, but the areas in green are the current places where our members are serving. However, all of our members' service areas, they impact the whole state. So despite not being directly placed in a county, our members are impacting the entire state of Alabama with their service, but depending on where they are serving. So it's really cool to know that we're just because you're in Blount County or Jefferson County, that you're still impacting other parts of the state. So much bigger than what you might think you're doing. And here's just a little impact about our service hours, excuse me, throughout the past three years. Yeah.
Mhm.
So 2020 to 2022, we have, as you know, you guys serve full time. Their service has quadrupled in the past 3 years since we began since 2020. Our hours reflect real community impact, as you'll see in our timesheets and VISTA reports. And our goal for 2023 is to have 100,000 service hours. So we're working our way well towards that this year. Another big part that we focus on is resource development and funding. So a lot of our members work, whether that be in-kind donations or fundraising and development or grant writing, they do some of that work for their sites. So about cash leverage, you can see those numbers there that we've grown tremendously throughout since 2020. And then in-kind resources that we've leveraged since 2020 has also grown tremendously. And that's a direct result of the service work that our VISTA members are doing. So I love these background pictures, by the way. They've been updated since last time. So our volunteer impact, again, the amount of volunteers we recruited and manage has gone up tremendously since 2020, and we continue to grow in those areas. And you'll be able to track that information on your VISTA reports and timesheets. Another lovely graph of how much impact we're having throughout the year. As you can see, it goes up, up, and up throughout our service years. So.
And this is the last graph, I promise. But all the stuff that we're going to talk about your timesheets, this is where this information goes. So we can use it to better the program, to show the impact that you guys are making, to bring more light to the impact you're making. It's a really neat way to highlight your service. And then these are all the things that we have listed right there. But there are many others that we will talk about in your Encore timesheets, but it's important to do them. We get to brag on you guys when we have them.
Also, it's just one less email for me if you don't. Section 2, resources and expectations. So we'll go over like the UAB versus AmeriCorps resources, what the hours are again, show you guys a little bit about the website, and talk about the Encore tutorial and VISTA reports. So who are you going to call? Essentially, who's going to be able to handle what benefits and answer what questions for you. So, and any questions regarding your living allowance, education award, relocation allowance, healthcare, childcare benefits, you would go to AmeriCorps directly because they handle those benefits directly, and our program staff nor your supervisor has access to that information, nor that I think you really want us to have that much information about you guys for those benefits. If you have any questions for that, you will contact the National Service Hotline directly, and that phone number is down below. And I'm sure you've seen it on just about every email from AmeriCorps about if you have issues to contact them. As far as the UAB benefits, we handle remote on-campus parking, one card access, mileage reimbursements, and then you all guys also have access to Blazer Kitchen, which is an on-campus food pantry, which is more like a grocery store. You take what you need, leave what you don't. And I do believe that you all have access to that once a week now. So, give me just a second. I got an email. Georgia, will you do this slide for me?
Okay, so this is just an overview of some of the benefits that you have as a full-time member. So not all of our summer associates have access to these, but as full-time members, you do. So we have the living allowance, which right now is about $13.50, but I think in the next slide, it'll talk about the increase that's going to happen on July 2nd. This talks a little bit about your Siegel Education Award, things that you can use for your, higher ed going towards tuition, or you can use it for debt. Same thing with healthcare and childcare, which is somewhere around here. I think it's right there. There's a thing blocking it, sorry. This relates directly to the Siegel Education Award. I know other homeboy is traveled, so I would look into the relocation allowance. Your sick leave, so you have personal sick and holiday leave, 10 personal, 10 medical, and then 5 emergency leave days. And then any holidays that are recognized by your site, you will also excused for. So if your site takes off, 3 days before Christmas or something like that, that's what you would take off, and that's how the schedule works. And any other time, you can use your personal and sick time. And then we also talked about the Blazer Kitchen. So that's a very brief overview of some of our stuff, and we will definitely touch on some of it later as well. Do you want me to keep going? You good?
I'm good. So this is about our organizational structure, or essentially our chain of communication and how that works with our program. So for any questions that you have about your day-to-day service, hours, when you'll be working, dress code, things of that nature, you will reach out to your direct supervisor because they're going to be the one guiding you on your day-to-day throughout your service. If for whatever reason that your supervisor can't answer the questions that you have, then you will follow up and reach out to our VISTA leader, Mike, and he would do his best to answer any questions that you have regarding your service. And if for whatever reason he can't answer your question, you would then be directed to a project supervisor or a program staff member. So if you're working in food security, that would have been in Georgia. If you were working in the Black Belt, that would have been Kiara. But since both of you are in the Birmingham metro area, and in neither of those areas, you will follow up with me. So you will reach out to me and ask me your question there. And if for whatever reason I am also stumped, I will reach out to our program director, and she's just like a wealth of knowledge. So if she can't answer it for me, I will go back out to our AmeriCorps representative, and I will get that answer for you from them. But 9 times out of 10, questions that you have and issues or conflict that you have can usually be addressed at the direct supervisor level, whether that be communication, hours, concerns about your service. It's usually best resolved at that first step. And if I'm being honest, when you come to me and say, hey, I'm having a concern about this, that, and the other, I'm going to ask you, hey, did you talk to your supervisor about it? Because that's where we're going to have to go back to anyway. So when in doubt, talk to your supervisor. And if they're not able to help, then we will come in and support you guys in that way. So hours, as we mentioned like 1,000 times, because it's important and it's an AmeriCorps requirement. So you guys are expected to be serving full time. So that's 35 to 40 hours a week. There can be flex time approved by your supervisor. So for say, if you have an evening event one week and you work over your hours that night, they might be able to adjust your hours for the next days so you don't work as long or give you the next day off what have you, that where you stay within that 35 to 40 hours. You're not expected to do overtime or anything like that because you don't get paid extra for that. You guys are paid at a daily rate, which does not change until they adjust our rate come July. But yeah. And also you guys are focusing on capacity building work. So that's essentially that program management, volunteer recruitment, data collection, program eval, things of that nature. You wouldn't necessarily be providing the services directly to your target group, if that makes sense. So for like food security, you wouldn't be necessarily delivering the food or distributing the food. You're more so getting the volunteers, coordinating the program, things of that nature. For sustainability, that'd be more like coordinating the tours and things of that nature, not necessarily going out to the yard and doing the sustainability garden yourself on a regular basis. Now, you might do that in your free time or when you have extra time, fine, so be it, but that shouldn't be the bulk of your service. And I'm sure you guys have talked to Bandit, she'll have plenty of things for you to do capacity related, so. Okay, so this is our living allowance schedule for the upcoming year. So you guys will be starting your service during the beginning, in the middle, well, not in the middle, in the second day of a pay period. So your first paycheck will come out on June 23rd. So that's when you can expect your first living allowance payment from us. Well, not from us, from AmeriCorps. And as Georgia mentioned earlier, as of right now, it's about $13.50 monthly before taxes for your living allowance, but that will be increasing come July 2nd. The rate will be increasing, but you won't see that affect your payment until I'm going to say mid to end July, because it has to accrue as starting on the July 2nd. And then it will be going up to $17.55 monthly. You don't have to do anything additional for that payment. It will come in directly to your account. And this calendar can also be found on our website. So mileage reimbursements. So you guys have access to mileage reimbursements through our program. This is paid out to you from UAB instead of AmeriCorps. It's essentially for any offsite activities that you do with your site. So if you have an event or you have a conference or a training or something to that effect that's not at your normal site place. And so you would do that using this form right here. So essentially you go from your site to the event and back, and that's what we can cover for you all. And the form gives you like the starting address, destination address, a real brief description of why you're traveling. So you could say conference, training event, volunteer recruitment, whatever. And then you give me the round trip miles, and then at the bottom you place an image or a link to the like a link to the meeting, not the meeting, Lord, words are hard today. And y'all just don't know, we are also human. So a link to the maps or a picture, screenshot of the map of you traveling to that mileage, so we can verify that was the mileage, or else UAB gets cranky. So, and I want to get you guys paid in a timely manner. George, you want to handle this one?
Sure. So these are some of the professional development opportunities specifically through our program. You guys have access through to a lot of them through AmeriCorps and your AmeriCorps portal and the VISTA campus and all of those wonderful things. But we also try to highlight professional development in our program. So the first little bit is our Tri-State Professional Development Series. We have one tomorrow at 11. They're usually from like 11 to 12:30, but they generally don't last that long. We just kind of put that in there for cushion. We partner with us in Alabama, 2 folks from Arizona, and somebody from Arkansas, other VISTA programs. So it's a neat way to network. It's a neat way to listen to new things, to get access to new speakers. So this is what we have through August. I don't remember the rest of them, but we have some really great things lined up. And then we also have our Life After AmeriCorps conference, which we are pumped about. It's going to be our inaugural, our first one. So we are super excited. We're going to invite all of the VISTAs, all of the AmeriCorps members, not just VISTAs, but all of the AmeriCorps members in the state of Alabama. We're going to invite our alumni and a few other folks down to UAB's campus from 9 to 3 on July 11th, which is a Tuesday. We're going to have some neat professional development opportunities. You can get your headshot, you can network and do lots of cool things. Talk about how do you transition out of service. I know you guys are super new into service, but it's definitely only a year. So something to think about as you go through service. That's all I got.
Thanks, George. So here we're going to go through some general website things. If you haven't seen it already, it should be in you. You should have gotten it somewhere, but this is our website for all things AmeriCorps. You guys will primarily use the current member tab, which has everything that we're going to discuss today and then some. It has all of your resources that we're going to discuss, and additional ones that I haven't talked about. So there's information about your orientation manual, the chain of communication, the handbook that AmeriCorps would have sent you already, the living allowance schedule, all that good stuff, your leave benefits, health benefits overview. Everything is here. There's also the link to our Encore training video. So you get another like 20 to 30 minutes of me talking about how to do your timesheets and VISTA reports, but it's something that you can go back to if you have any questions or issues during those things. And just some general things for personal wellness and our hotlines that we have available to you. I'm gonna make sure that you have information on. So yeah, lots of information there. 9 times out of 10, if you have a question about your service or something that's going on with our program, it can be found on that page. So everything we talk about today will be there as well. So we talk about it a lot because it's important. Capacity building versus direct service. Capacity building is what AmeriCorps VISTA expects you all to focus on during your service year, and they want us to stay away from the direct service. So some examples here: recruiting volunteers to build a house rather than building it yourself, developing a database for mentors rather than mentoring the teenagers yourself, writing a financial literacy curriculum rather than teaching the course yourself. One that can be getting tricky because we do have VISTAs who train the trainers essentially, and that is okay and acceptable. So if you ever have questions about what is considered capacity building or direct service, feel free to reach out to us or Mike, and we're happy to help you to figure that out for you all. So Encore overview. Georgia, is the video able to play? I don't know how long. I can't remember how long it is.
Well, it's like 30.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that.
But it's
We're
here.
not. It is here, so we'll make sure we send that out afterwards. Essentially, this is where you'll be tracking all of your hours and activities throughout your VISTA service year. Not only is it important for our program, but it's also useful to you all because you have access to a transcript when you complete your service year. So it shows you how many hours you completed doing capacity building work, whether that be managing volunteers, recruitment, things of that nature. You have access to all of those things, and you can see how that relates to your service year, and you can use that for either future education. People have used it for future internships or jobs to verify like the type of work they did during their service year and why it matters. So it's a succinct place to get all that information about your service. So super helpful. And Mike, I'm gonna let you take this one away.
All right. Yes, this is kind of a complicated little picture, but essentially what I've noticed with a lot of our volunteers and members is that they don't have the strongest identity with AmeriCorps, because first and foremost, you are AmeriCorps members. So with that come the benefits that you are entitled to that I've noticed a lot of people don't take advantage of, such as a healthcare allowance that I'm assuming you are all on your parents' insurance still. So you are entitled to having your copays and co-insurances paid for. And there's also other ones such as, schools of national service that will some will double your education award if you choose to go on and get a higher degree like a master's or a PhD. And so, I kind of made this picture to kind of just walk you through how you should talk about your service. So you do not work for UAB. You volunteer with AmeriCorps and you serve with the Office of Sustainability, and you serve through the University of Alabama at Birmingham. And this isn't something you need to like write down or memorize. It's just something to keep in mind when you are talking to somebody who is not familiar with AmeriCorps or familiar with the sort. And if you're interfacing a lot with people, in the community, especially when you're doing anything sort of in the realm of conservation or sustainability, it's in the South and in Alabama, it can be kind of one of those things that, people hear the word conservation or environmental and immediately the knives come out and they get very angry because they have their preconceived notions about, what that means. So, and there are limitations to what we can and can't talk about as we're not employees of the federal government, but we do, It's called the Hatch Act. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it. I will not go into details. If you are interested in knowing more about it, then you can let me know, but there are some limitations. And I will send y'all a recording of, I had one of my old professors. I went to Auburn. I did natural resource management. So I am like in with the, sustainability initiatives in the state. So I will send you two who are working with the Office of Sustainability a recording of a session that an old professor of mine did where she talked about kind of communicating with people in the South when it comes to environmental concerns. And especially when you are working in that area, it's easy to kind of get it politicized. And that's something we want to stay away from. As AmeriCorps members, it's something we have to stay away from as AmeriCorps members. So it is very beneficial to know that first and foremost, you are an AmeriCorps volunteer. And with that comes some limitations as to what you can and can't talk about as far as, especially when you work with something as sensitive as, sustainability initiatives. So that was probably a lot. I guess the big takeaway from this whole slide is essentially, you are an AmeriCorps member and you serve with, your respective area. And so first, when it comes to kind of, I don't want to say the word allegiance or loyalty, but it is to AmeriCorps, and you have to follow, guidelines when it comes to discussing potentially sensitive matters with the public while you're on the clock. Now, while you're off the clock,
Yes.
do what
Yeah.
you want to do. Just don't wear anything AmeriCorps. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, if you have any questions, email me afterwards. I'd be, more than happy to talk with anybody, especially if you're doing anything in the realm of natural resources, when it comes to, quote unquote, working for the federal government. So yeah.
He failed to mention it, but there's also an environmental slash sustainability task force that Mike is heading up, which I imagine you guys will be an invite to in the nearest future. And they essentially meet and talk about these things and how they impact in their communities through sustainability and environmental work. So super cool things happening, and that's where that first meeting happened with the his professor at Auburn. So next slide. So yeah, we went through this kind of quickly, but if you have any questions, this is the now time to ask. They'll be going over a lot of those things again at your VMO later today at 2 p.m. But if you have any questions about the onboarding, timesheets, expectations, or just things in general, like what am I doing this year? Why did I sign up? Feel free to ask them now. And then I'll be quiet for a second. If not, this is not a speak now or forever hold your peace kind of situation. Please always feel comfortable to reach out and ask us questions about your service throughout your year. We want to be there to support you guys. It's really important to us. As you know, as we mentioned, all of the program staff have been AmeriCorps VISTA members with this program in particular. So it's really important to us that you get the most out of this service year and really have an impactful experience. So one more time, here's our contact information. I'm sure you've seen my email 1,000 times by now, so that is me. But if you have any questions for Mike or anyone else on our program staff, please feel free to reach out to them as well. Last but not least, please, please, please do not forget to participate in your VMO today at 2 p.m. Central Time. It is very important that you participate fully because if you do not, they will not consider you a VISTA member and therefore will not pay you your living allowance. So please, please, please go. Also, I get really cranky emails when our members don't show up. So please attend. And if you have any issues joining, please let me know as soon as possible so we can try to get that resolved and get you sworn in effectively. Otherwise, yay, you're VISTA members. We're so excited to have you here with our program today, starting today. So we wish you the best. Feel free to reach out to us with questions, but we're really looking forward to the impact that you're going to have. So, and with that, I will let you guys be great. I'll stay on for a couple seconds after in case anybody wants to ask questions in private. Otherwise, you guys are good to go.